So in 2022, before the 34th legislature Sindai, meaning before they closed, there was a
Oh,
bill and they added some amendments, which is what Dr. Peter is referring to. Some amendments that changed basically the differences between the board and the supervisor. And one of the changes that was made was it took away the authority of the board running or managing the elections and it gave it to the supervisor. Now, I want to just get your opinion on that just a second because the election took place. St. Croix got the results within an hour and some change, and St. Thomas was almost 2 to 3 hours waiting for their results. So, what was your perspective on that, Dr. Peter?
Well, my perspective, like I said, there's no reason Carolyn Fox should be allowed to go to the Senate and recommend changes to remove the Board of Election from a law. That is definitely unethical, and that should be unlawful. That my that an employee of an organization can go in front of the Senate and change the law for the boss. That is unethical, and that has to be unlawful. And like Karen said, year, that same year, Kenny Gittins was number one vote getter. So it appears it was a play for play, a pay to play. Hey, I'll give you what you want, and you give me what I want. That's what it appears to me happened. That cannot happen. So that law definitely, one of the first things I want to be able to do in there is recommend that law to be repealed. We got to repeal and put it back how it used to be, where um, the board of election, the board of election shall, I think the law reads, the board of election shall, I forget the word they use, but the board of election needs to be put back into that law where they strike it out. It needs
Hmm.
to be put back into that law, where we approve. Yeah, it says the board of election shall approve, and then the supervisor of election shall put the candidate on the ballot. Right now it reads, the supervisor of election shall approve and put it on the ballot. That's not what it was reading before. What was reading before was the board of election shall approve, and then the supervisor of election shall put it on the ballot. Right now, it doesn't read that because Carolyn Fox removed that. So that's one of the things I want to be able to do is said, hey, let us repeal that law. Let's
Hmm.
put it back how it originally was, because that has to be unethical. That has to be unlawful for
because
anybody to do.
Hmm.
because
Yes, yes.
basically what's happening now, Carolyn is running the whole election system. The board has no say basically, and that shouldn't be.
Hmm.
She
Yeah.
said when, where, and how. That should not be. And the board members sit there and take it, and that's what we said. They're a non-functioning board. She controls the board. It's like how Albert controls the legislature. Everybody have the place. Play your part.
Mhm. Which leads me to my next question, Dr. Peter. Some people were calling for the termination of Caroline Fox. I was one of them earlier during this whole situation because of her actions. It persuaded a lot of people to not have faith and trust into the election system, and that they don't feel that their votes are respected and valued. What are your thoughts on that whole push for termination of Caroline Fox?
Um, like I said again, if you own a business and your employee goes to the Senate and
Mhm.
change the power, would you leave them there? One. Two, if your employee takes you to court, would you leave that employee there working in your business? No, you would not. Carolyn Fox has no respect for the board. She has no respect for the people of the Virgin Islands. As a
Cleo,
result,
put on your light. Put
Mhm.
on your light
Yes,
on. Thank
I
yes,
was
you.
I'm
in
ready.
I was
I'm
in my
ready.
I was in my car. Yeah,
Mhm.
Carolyn Fox, it appears that Carolyn Fox does not have any respect for the people of the Virgin Islands. I don't know who is in her pocket or who is guiding her, but Carolyn Fox does not have any respect for the Board of Election. Who takes their employer to court? Who does that? When they vote, you told Ida Smith, if you don't like my ruling, go to the board. Ida Smith goes to the board. The board didn't make a decision. The board asked for the opinion of the AG.
Mhm.
The AG wrote this long page, I think 2 or 3 pages, or even 4 pages. The AG wrote and said, hey, these are the reasons why I believe Ida is qualified to be on the ballot. Y'all asked for his opinion. He gave his opinion. Carolyn Fox said, hey, it's his opinion. I disagree. I'm taking y'all to court. And then after the election, after early voting started, she took the board to court. She interfered with the election. So guess what? If Carolyn Fox remain in that position, she's gonna do worse. Every 2 years, Carolyn Fox does worse. She's gonna do worse again. Carolyn Fox needs to be fired. The board needs to fire Carolyn Fox. So for whatever reason, they don't want to fire Carolyn Fox. But from my view, Carolyn Fox needs to be fired. She needs to leave that position and go and open her own pilot school. Go and do something else, because she's been there too long, and it appears that she's corrupt along with the board, and it looked like she's running the board. That should not happen. The board's supposed to be the one making all these decisions, and Carolyn Fox have to do the bidding of the board. But now the board is doing the bidding of Carolyn Fox. Carolyn Fox is taking the board to court, but the board afraid to fire Carolyn Fox. If you don't fire Carolyn Fox will strike again.
Thank you for saying that, because that was my reason why I pushed for the determination, because there's no place you cannot take your employer to court. That is not how that works. It's 2 things. One, you refuse to do what they're telling you to do and you get terminated, or 2, you resign and then you take them to court for whatever reason you're taking them to court for. That's how that works. And so when she did that, I was just like, yeah, this can't work. You can't remain working for me if you're not doing what I'm telling you to do. There's a procedure and there's process as to how these things are supposed